Again, everyone, welcome to Salesforce Security Office Hours. It's about me. I am Matt Myers. I'm CEO and founder of EzProtect. I have over 19 years of experience. I'm a Salesforce CTA, and hopefully this person behind me soon will be as well. I'm also the author of the best-selling book, Securing Salesforce Digital Experiences, and my mission in life is really to help ensure that people understand and know what to do to protect their data in Salesforce. Next, I'll let Mala go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here today. I'm a director of engineering at DocuSign. I'm working with mostly SaaS applications. My role is implementing and adoption of secure DevSecOps pipeline. I have been working in this area from last 18 years and have been evolved from nothing to overall automated pipeline. So my major role is how does one secure pipeline would look like for any SaaS application, be the Salesforce or be the Oracle. But in today's topic, I will focus more on Salesforce. So been working here for long and have been implemented security and DevSecOps practice from 0 to 1. So looking forward for today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mala. It's great to meet you, and I'm sorry we didn't meet before, but excited to see your talk today. So let me go and
Same
move
here.
on to the next slide. And if it gets too loud, just let me know. I can move to a different location. So anyway, so as I was talking, I'm the CEO and founder of EzProtect, and we are, of course, sponsoring these and supporting these office hour sessions. So if you don't know, Salesforce doesn't scan files for viruses, and our mission is, of course, to help customers ensure that their data is protected in Salesforce. So if you ever have an interest, please feel to reach out. Okay, so we always like to do a recap of the last office hours. It was actually a very interesting one. We were talking about certifications and not certifications in Salesforce, actually certifications in security, help and things that you should be looking at as a Salesforce admin, as a Salesforce architect, and to broaden your awareness of security and getting these certifications, which will help elevate your position in your organization as being a security expert and a Salesforce expert. So that was a really engaging session. I suggest you take a look at that. And then hot off the press this week, this is really another breach, unfortunately, but this time it was Grubhub that got hit. They just confirmed a data breach where the attackers did not hack Grubhub directly. What they did is they used the stolen tokens that were from the SalesLoft drift breach in order to access Grubhub Salesforce environment and Zendesk environment, which is months later after the sales drift breach. So just remember that it's from your organization that these breaches happened months ago. So you need to be ensuring that you don't have any of these tokens still active from SalesLoft, Drift, or any of the other vendors that we've seen that have been breached recently. I think Gainsight was the other one. If you have any of those active, then you could be the next target. So ensure that you have all those tokens disabled in your organization. And if you don't know how to do that, feel free to DM me, and I'm happy to jump on a call with you to help you out. All right, so talking about breaches again, it's our slide of shame, I call it, or the slide you do not want to be on. These are all the logos who have been breached. Actually, not all of them, a small set of the 900 companies, but the major ones, and it keeps growing every week. And this is why we're doing this. So, as I said, please be very aware of your security so you do not end up on my slide. All right, so we're going to start. I don't know, shifting to.
That's
Okay, there we go.
Oh,
there we go. The extra slide that's not supposed to be in there, but I'll kind of hand the stage off to Mala and let you go, and just let me know when you want to move the slides forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. So as I start with it, like what does the shift left security actually looks like for Salesforce teams? As I said, when I joined Salesforce as a DevSecOps director or engineering person, bringing security itself is a big persona you are as a leader bringing to the company. And how would you shift left? Every organization where I joined, I usually work most of the enterprise companies. What does it mean? They already have a full Salesforce setup. They have a Salesforce best practice setup. So telling people now you have to think differently and bring the everything in a security aspect itself is a big, shift left. plus your mindset, how you code. And if you have a 20 years or 10-year plus code, how would you make sure you are going forward building the best security practice, but you are also convincing the team to bring together what we have been already done? How could you make sure your end to end is fully secure? My role was majorly driving from not only educating the people, how does shift left security would look like in developer platform, but how will we going to adopt those adoption, not for today or tomorrow code, but the past if you have written many years of code. So this is how I started my journey. Definitely it requires a lot of education, but when are you looking for shift left, you have to really bring the whole picture. You can definitely inspire people to do a new and the current work, but you should also give them a plan like, hey, this is your 20 years old, or this code scanning practice or secret scanning practice should be implemented. So give them a realistic plan, which will inspire them to build more on a left. And you're also holistically saving all the ecosystem, not only focusing today or tomorrow. So it's extremely important. How would you implement end to end? So as a leader, when you are bringing those idea, always thinks about how far you need to go to shift left. In one go, it might not be possible, but make the conversation where you have the full persona for end to end security. And that is why it is so hard in Salesforce. It's a CRM, it's a black box and so many aspect of it. I have been very lucky enough to work with a lot of security leaders in the industry, which basically work on a full stack platform where I educated them how Salesforce is different. And they educated me what I can bring as the best practice for shift left. That could be building your own code analyzer with your own company customized rules. Which secret scanning tool would work best for Salesforce? Like I had a discussion with Salesforce and we wanted to use HashiCorp, but we would never be able to use it. So what other options we have? So building those tools knowledge, like currently we are using Thycotic and all, which works well with Salesforce. So that is why it is not a full stack application, but you can also do a lot with a limited sets of security tools.
Okay, great, sounds good. Do you have let's see, there we go.
And as it is coming over this now, the era is AI. We are moving from simple Apex coding to vibe coding, or bringing all the companies are bringing agentic model for agents, for sales agents to support agent. Now we are opening our doors to AI world, which also require you to look for a lot of new level of security you need to get implemented. How will you make sure that those different moving pieces with AI would match with Salesforce? So I would my takeaway was implementing a agentic model for Salesforce was educate your security people how does your CRM works, so they can provide you the enough input what security guardrails require. So educating, and always keep in mind, this is not a full stack application. So don't just assume it, oh, what works for Java, it will work for Salesforce. You need to bring on an Apex concept. You need to bring your configuration. You need to bring your a privileged way. So bringing those pieces together to during your security review for your agentic model for Salesforce would also help you to protect more and make sure you are basically each step of AI journey for Salesforce, you have fully guardrail. Even it is not a full stack and you might not have to have a ability to integrate all the tools, but at least you have a good a secure pipeline implemented from development to deployment. So that is where another thing. So like as the slides talk about it, that we would have a lot of governance gap. It's not exactly apple to apple comparison when you talk about full stack any of the applications. So make sure during your security review you have threat modeling implemented, you have your system talks about it, like what is moving as a configuration, what is moving as a user permission set, what is moving as a code. So you are looking all aspect of data and different settings during those governance and compliance. So you are giving them a visibility and taking the various guardrails from your well-defined security practice, which will not only cover your code, but it will also cover your pipeline on aspects of permission set and aspects of your configuration settings. So this would make sure in an AI era, you are thinking through as a CRM aspects of Salesforce, but you're also working on the same concept, like how I'm going to build this whole ecosystem more secure and more end-to-end governance compliance. And I'm sure each industry, like our Salesforce practice, does have a SOX audits, and we have a federal FedRAMP jabs and all. So that would also help you in future to get those various compliance approval for your agentic workflow too. Matt, can you proceed with the next slide?
And one thing I was going to say also is I think that from a governance perspective, a lot of people aren't really thinking that from the AI, where you have governance for your current Salesforce applications and that you're deploying out, and you have your pipelines for that, and you have the rules and the gates you need to go through and the checks that need to happen. But when it comes to AI, I think people still aren't thinking at that level. They're just treating it like it's their normal release process versus how, making sure that, part of that checks needs to be looking at their prompts, looking at, are there any security holes there? And then, like you were saying, the SOC, I think that's a great point as well with all the security compliance. Are you compliant with what the AI is doing with these security frameworks? So anyway, I just wanted to add that really quick.
No, it completely makes sense. And it always right? Like what is on the stake? Why security is becoming now more important than ever? Like if someone would talk 5 years back, like Salesforce require a security, the only check I used to remember that we used to run Salesforce health check, and which will just give you a one dashboard or your health is here and you just put some secret scanning and you move on. But now things have been changed. We have been seeing a different ways of your system is getting attacked. Your leaked credentials are there in your repo. You have an overprivileged service account for a longer time. Do you have a JIT access, just-in-time access? Those are the thing which is evolving now around a different breaches and letting us learn from those breaches that how your security pipeline would look like. It does where you can get leaked information, how many developers are still allowed to use without any lot of guardrail when they are pushing the data from development to your QA or any other sandboxes, plus how many before 3 years, I have not seen any companies have implemented just-in-time access. Just-in-time access, well, how does it help? It provides you admin access for a limited time. Suppose you need a deployment for 1 hour and it takes your access back. It saves you two ways. First of all, it will save definitely high cost of Salesforce licenses. And second is it will also give those service account to make sure that they are not overprivileged and they are not having all the time access, more than access they require it. So making in your company those service account to a limited to the access what they need. And once they are done, taking back the access with the time frame, plus keep continuously running the audit about it, that hey, why does this configuration setting change with this person by this time? So doing those audit also help to understand how your overprivileged account is being used and what other guardrails you can keep. So definitely on a day one, you would not know what other privilege you should be taking out. But over the time period, if you have those guardrail, you can make those overprivileged account very narrow down what they require and how much time it takes. And as always said, you don't need for a breach uh, 10 different people having overprivilege or leaked credential. One credential and one overprivileged service account can put you in a danger of your data. And definitely those breaches cost not only reputation, but revenue also. So, and Salesforce is for every company has a one of the place which has a lot of revenue related information. So no company would like to afford those information to be leaked. So from this state, I would definitely say that have your privilege account, even you put the guardrail, keep continuously audit for it. See what still are working well and what is not working. You will make a better guardrail over the time. Putting a one type of guardrail and forget about those things would never work. Second, look for your credentials, how your repos are storing, or when you're launching a new project, do you have a good framework implemented where it makes sure, even this is a totally new pipeline I'm creating, a new team is getting onboarded, are they using the right framework? Are they using Thycotic or HashiCorp on a day one, or they will be using it after 1 month of project live and so thing. So these things keep in mind. You have to have a guardrail implement, and you still need to audit and make sure that you are keep updating them and making it better and better day by day. I my mantra is audit those things more frequently. I do have a notification comes to me for just in time also if I see it has been still used over usage or something action has been taken during that specific period. So I usually email people, right? Hey, you took the permission for this. Why are you changing other permission sets? So I would definitely say that continuously auditing and making sure you are doing the right thing in a very beginning of any new pipeline would really help you to build a more eco-secure system rather than you just do it once and say, hey, I have secured the pipeline and I have everything overprivileged just in time access is implemented. I can forget about it. It's not going to let you scale over the time period.
Yeah. One of the things I see a lot of happens is people install these security tools and then they just forget it and leave it there and then don't do
Yeah.
anything with it. And I think that's the problem, especially if you're like looking at, there's a reason why NIST has the threat response life cycle. It's a life cycle. It's not a one-time thing you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like audit learning, and seeing like where are our still a weak point, how people still can misuse the system. You should be learning regular basis.
Yeah, and that's why all these frameworks are all about continuous improvement, right? It's not just check the boxes and you're done. If you don't continuously improve, the attackers are continuously improving. So you need to be improving yourself so you can find new ways and that to block those attacks and for the types of attacks that are happening as well. Yep. So I do have one question for you before we move on to the next slide. So about your last bullet there about the breach costs, and the fines and, executive liability. And I would say, the responsibility of the executive. So you see a lot of times, especially in enterprise procurement cycles, there's this disconnect, right? You have the business that knows they need this security tool, but then it moves to procurement and contracting and then their own internal security reviews. And then that ends up take months longer, slowing the time that tool comes in. So do you think that there should be a change in how procurement and security and get executive championship to basically find like a fast track for when it comes to a security tool coming in versus just a normal business tool coming into an organization? And what do you think executives should start be thinking about or doing to start making those changes?
But my understanding is like definitely when it comes to tool cost, right? It's first of all, no organization they want to spend the money, but there is no unlimited money, right? There is no unlimited money. It always helped me to educate the executive for getting a money and getting the right budget for the tool or a process or attracting people to adopt for more scanning and all. What is on the stake and what ROI I'm going to get. That helps me to align the overall tool strategy rather than just going and telling executive, hey, I need A, B, and C tool. And even every individual understand in the company how security is important. But until unless no breach happens, everyone thinks like the grass is green, we don't need to worry, we are
Yep.
fully secure. So I'm not saying we have to show them a breach data, but we have to show them what is in the stake and how our system have been getting mature. So one thing I didn't touch about it. So once I am securing my any ecosystem in a SaaS world, I'm going back to my security CISO and asking them, hey, I have implemented this, can you give me the maturity certificate? That really helps to get that certificate. If they say, hey, I'm on a, as per industry standard, I am on a highest security maturity, or I'm on a middle, I still have a lot of space to improve. So those certification also help my executive to understand, hey, currently in Salesforce, I am on medium or low, and this is our target should be. That helps to procure the security tool and attract to the audience to understand where you want to go from point A to point B. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense because I mean the concern I always have is those cycles taken, they treat every tool the same that's going through that procurement life cycle. And I've seen also cases, obviously, and I'm sure probably you have too, where a tool is going through that procurement life cycle and then a breach happens that tool could have stopped. And I think that's the concern that that I have as these tools are going through organizations and they're onboarding them.
Yes, and as I said, again, there is nothing, being procurement cycle also, as I said, I cannot expedite it, but at the same time, I could predict about it that these are the various tools we would require during our budget session, or the session which basically attract the executive to take the action correctly to provide the good data set, what they should be looking for it.
Yep, correct.
So now, what should be the guardrail would look like, right? Basic guardrail, like secret should never exist in a local development environment or version control. That's security, I would say, 101. You should always start with easy one, which you can fix it, right? So this is something where your developer would not spend a lot of time. You give them a secure wallet to secure their credential. You have your DevSecOps pipeline would have those check and balances, which says, hey, if you don't have a secret wallet integrated, we are not going to approve any of your code deployment. So that is a very easy thing to achieve as a step one. So I always promote everyone that if you don't have it, start from there so you can at least first secure your credential, which is easy to steal and easy to implement as a security tool without asking developer to do a lot of work on their end, right? That makes easy start and people feel good, at least now my credentials safe, I'm on a first step of security. Then the second things comes like how those credentials are managed, environment variable from one of the development team. So you create a framework. One thing it really helped me, educating the developer rather than going and telling them implement those 5 different items in security. So becoming a security champion, educating the developer, taking them to a journey together, like how does the overall security landscape look like and where each steps look like, and how much value it can return in the beginning of any security setup. It really helps you to get the good collaboration from developers, and they could also come up with more excitement to you rather than you are dictating them what is security needs to be implemented. And then keep working with your developers also. Hey, this is your pre-commit guardrail would look like. And if we can't do it on day one, what are the options we have? Are you creating a tickets automatically, which can educate the developer what fix it requires? Are you updating the best practice code with looking how many defects you are finding in security? So continuously doing those things would also help you to make improvement ahead of time, even before you any commit or before you check in. And in the last line, as it says, treat any secret that touches a repo as compromised and rotate immediately. So you should have your pipeline would have those automation done that you are keep rotating. If it is not, you're not going to accept those repos and all. So I can't talk enough about that one. So definitely right sizing service account access is must. My favorite is just in time, a limited time access you give to those accounts also. You have proper audit done and you are keep looking at it and seeing if there is a space where people are misusing those accounts. So keep looking, set up the account, set up try to just in time. Do not give unlimited time access to those account, and audit is the most important part to make your service account with the right limit, with the right permission sets.
And we have a question actually from Dan right on this topic. And it says, you mentioned just-in-time access for deployments to QA and so forth. Can you please elaborate on that some more? How do you recommend achieving just-in-time access?
So just-in-time access, we have created an in-house app which basically helps to you to get the access for a very limited period. It would help you to get, so you can design the app as per your organization, you who you want to give access, right? Let me give you the example. For our production, our developer who are not a full-time of our company, they don't deploy a code. They are not allowed to access. So they will never get even a just-in-time. So people who are allowed, we have been limited the people and plus what time it is. So suppose your deployment takes 3 hours, so your by default time is to get any account to deploy any pipeline for 3 hours. And as soon as those 3 hours done, you don't have access for it. And when we also correlate that just-in-time access with the CR ticket, which tells what exactly you are deploying. It's not like blindly, I will go, hey, I need a 3 hour access for deployment. You should have a proper ticket open, what you're deploying, when are you deploying, and why it is required to have those various different account access. So linking everything together also give you the aspect on a program level, and it will also limit the people who can just come in and get the access without they would need for any program and project. So having a end-to-end this system, integrated where your service ticket would tell you who got the access, why they got the access, what they have been deployed, and what steps they should be doing it. If they have done extra step which has not been written in CR, we usually email them and ask, hey, your CR is saying you are only changing those two permission set. Why did you change this? This was not written. What is a what is a reason behind it that your CR is saying something, but you are basically changing something. So those kind of guardrails would help you to set up the account correct. And during when those accounts are working, you will also learn if you have missed something during the setup, what needs to be extended on those.
Great. That's an excellent answer. Thanks. And I hope, Dan, that answers your question. If not, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. All right, moving on.
So this is my bread and butter. How I get money from my job is like building automated CI/CD security kit, and that is how I have been telling the companies that, hey, we should have I have created a policies as a code where it transforms the security requirement into a more automated and consistent check for any deployment from the product development to QA, UAT, or stage, plus also enforce the compliance automatically without requiring the manual review. You all know that a Salesforce move in a various places. You have a code, you have a configuration. So how would you, okay, code, you have all the checks done. For the configuration, what check you can be building it. So building those gaps and making sure not only your code, but the configuration checks one way or other way, you are making sure it is compliance related, which account they are using it, how much privilege they have, what settings they are using it. So everything is being built as a framework for the developer teams, DevOps team, and our SOX compliance team, and we keep reviewing that where we have a gap, where we have to do the improvement. So I would definitely say that those, each part is important. Code is important, configuration is important, access is important, and the time frame is important. So built on those logic would always help you to make your DevSecOps pipeline secure and safe, not only for the code, but all those manual changes also. And then you talk about static analysis. So when we were doing the static analysis, we put a lot of our own customized rule as per our developer needs. And it also has a capability for open a security ticket if they see any issues, and those security ticket get assigned to our overall alt security person, so they can educate you and give you the timeline. Hey, if your code has a P1 issue, it can't go, it will blocks you. But if it has a P4 issues, you still have a 30 days to make those fixes, and how you are going to retest and get the review with the security team. So it is a process between two separate teams to work together and make sure someone else is also certifying your work. It's not only you or Salesforce specific system. Your security team is making sure the fixes you are put it for security, it is aligned with the security practice. I think, Matt, this is repeating the same slide. So that is a one other topic I wanted to touch here today, and I added this morning only because I think that is another one basic thing you always have to think about it. Does your developer runs automated unit test? Do they have a static code analysis? I do have seen that our automated unit testing is not providing a proper coverage. So you would only come to know very late in cycle when you start deploying your code. So make sure your unit test does have a coverage for your security related tests. So you would know, you can tell the developer to find their problems sooner than later, which basically saves everyone time. And during the building the product, when you are creating a requirements, you work with your product team to educate them that, hey, this ticket, what we are building, suppose you are building some profile related, permission related changes, that does require a security related more test implemented. So you should have those requirement call out security testing or security gates changes or new implementation in the project level, rather than engineering only the one deciding, or DevSecOps is it deciding during the project grooming session, during when you are building those architecture, those specific security related requirements should also trace under the main feature requirement, will gives the visibility from security to a product team that, this is required, this is our standard that needs to be implemented. And the last is my favorite topic is data masking. We all do a lot of refreshes. We bring a lot of production data to our lower environment for testing. So you make sure you have a proper masking done as per your compliance. So when your lower environment is testing, there is no data breaches happening and you are confidently run the practice as many times, because that's another huge risk when you are bringing your all production data to a lower sandbox and giving access to anyone in the company who works over there on from development to QA to look those data and misuse those data. So I would definitely say that data masking is another must criteria for making sure your all data is saved.
Yep. And I do have a question just to help everyone a little bit more. So these are great topics, but also there's so many tools and ways that you can do this available. Do you have any suggestions or just things that people should be considering when evaluating which tool? Because I mean I could think of 5 in general just for data masking and seeding in the Salesforce ecosystem, and then there's a number of different ones on that are Salesforce specific and non-Salesforce specific for static and dynamic analysis. So do you have any kind of direction or advice to people what they should be thinking about and looking for when selecting these tools for their organization?
Yes, so it's very funny. You would not believe. So we built a data masking in-house, by the way, using the Python framework with the AWS. So I would definitely say that we didn't spend any money for buying a tool because as a security or DevSecOps leader, I would like to expand this tool over the time period for a different applications, right? To bring because our data flows from Salesforce to Snowflake. So if I would have a different tools, it has a different standard. So we built as an open source in-house tool for ourselves. So my recommendation is, sure, you can buy any tool for data masking, but you need to also think through if you have any other system who are basically getting the feeded data from the production and your pipeline is integrated with them. You have to make sure your each system has same level of compliance and data being stored. So whichever tool you adopt, I would definitely say that think bigger than Salesforce for sure. And as also compliance's rule changes, your company rules also changes. Suppose today you are only having the SOX compliance, but tomorrow you would have FedRAMP JAB, which has a different requirement for masking. So you are able to change your masking rule over the time. Then for a requirement traceability, I'm a big fan of Jira. We create a subtask for each those ticket to make sure when we are presenting those programs to our executive, we talk about this project would require those security changes. So it should have a proper timeline and tool, tools supposed to be supported to those requirement, and it also gives a visibility to overall organization that how security is important for this project and where we require more. So I like Jira for that, which can have end-to-end connectivity with a feature set. And for the unit testing, we do use various tools. In-house tools, we have been using Playwright, and we use for our static code analysis, we have used Code Analyzer with our own customized rules. We have been configured for that.
Excellent. Thanks. I think that should be really helpful to everybody. So, all right. So let's get to your key takeaways.
Great timing.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. So my key takeaway for this whole presentation is, I would say, cost of the right side discovery is always, always higher, and then shifting left is not going to be have a less issues to fix, but it also educate the people, and over the time period, it became a part of the best practice, and people start owning it at the right direction uh, from the top of the project. Second thing is start with the secret elimination. Like in my first slide, I told you, right? That is the easiest one you can get, where you are asking developer a minimum effort but achieving the big results. So if you would start with the hardest one, like if you tell someone who's using Salesforce org for 20 years, or start scanning the static code from tomorrow, from last 20 years, they will not like it. So I would definitely say that bringing the secret scanning first is always a good idea, and then you can create a phase-wise plan for them for the static scans. Then the right side of permissions, now over privileged accounts, and keep auditing and have a just-in-time access will give you a more control and learning power, and over the time makes your those accounts more safe and suitable for your company usage. So definitely, please make those permissions, keep audit those things continuous basis, use just in time access more than rather than having a permanent creating a service account. Then automate your gate. I'm a big fan of automation, coming from a QA background and being working in DevSecOps. See how much you can automate during this whole security practice, which will really give you a long-term investment and helps you to build better system day by day.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Mala. I mean, this was very, very informative. I think I learned a bunch of stuff myself, and, and a lot of things that I'm constantly preaching to people. So I hopefully everyone else learned a lot from this. But as I always say every session, I love my favorite quote is only you can prevent and contain a data breach in Salesforce. And I'll add to that, and your other cloud systems that you're maintaining across your enterprise. So always keep that in mind. It's up to you. It's not, don't think about it's up to somebody else. All right, so Cactus Force is going on today. So anyone that wants to watch it live, if you're not here, if you're here at Cactus Force, then come find me. I'll be walking around. Just look for someone carrying a big giant Cody around the campus. So, but if you want to join, they have online. You can watch it. Watch it. I don't. So, and last but not least, we have all of our usual Salesforce security resources, all these office hours videos on YouTube. We've got some more security resources, and of course, my book. At this point, we'll open up the forum for QA. And I actually saw one question from Mala. Not Mala, I'm sorry, David Wishart. And David, I don't know if you want to go off mic and have ask Mala directly or comment about the comment that you made. I think it's a very interesting topic that might surface some other topics.
Yeah, it was just really, hi Mike and everybody else. Yeah, it was just really in response to Dan's question about how everybody does it. And I know Mala, you answered as well. We do that pretty much as Mala's outlined in terms of requesting elevated access. Ironically, I had one even today doing that for a time limited task. So yeah, it is unfortunate that we've got to um, keep an eye on that. So somebody, whoever grants that access, has got to sort of police it and make sure that once the task is completed, that particular ticket or the access is then closed off so that the elevated access is removed from the person that's requested it. The only thing else I would mention to Dan is if it's something that's a slightly longer task, for instance, maybe it's a deployment over a weekend or something like that, you can have permission sets that do automatic expiry after a certain date, but unfortunately, from what I've seen anyway, out of the box, you have to do that for whole days rather than a specific like few hours or something like that. So that might be another option, Dan, if you're interested in terms of how to do that. But ultimately, it does require, I think, some element of policing these accesses and making sure that the minimum is granted at any one particular time. I don't know if you've got any other thoughts, Mala, or
Yeah, absolutely right. As I said, we have an integration with our emails and we have an integration with our Slack. So it does tell us like who at least, and we have put it in so we have a circle of people where we have not only one person is auditing, we have a couple of people who get the notification and one of us are looking at it weekly basis. Like sometime I'm on a rotation, so I'm looking that week. It also helps it's not like, hey, who's basically looking at it, right? So we do have this whole rotation goes on with couple of leaders, couple of people over the time period. We look, hey, this month I'm looking, or this 15 days I'm looking, or this weekend, which really helps to even understand. Because when we adopted just in time access in the beginning, people thought no one is looking and no one is paying attention to it. So once they know there is a drill, plus unfortunately, when people do that, I do send a notification to their manager also, so people would know that, hey, there is a consequences. It's not like I want to punish someone, but this is how we are setting up the best practice and standard, that it is not a one-on-one conversation. We do put it in our SOX audit or audit file that, hey, this person, we have given the guidance. If those are continuously happening, then we will go ahead and talk to the manager. Hey, your team is like, most of the people is not having the best practice. Let me come and give them what are the best practice rule and where the rules are changing. So another one thing which worked very well was creating a security champion in a development community who basically take the responsibility for their team. Not only us, not only system, but one of the person in the same team will act as a security champion and make sure if someone in their team is not following the practice, it should not come from us. Team itself can solve the problem and taking the upfront responsibility for that.
Right. Hopefully that answers your question that you had. One thing I will actually add to that as well is what we do internally. So what we do is we use Okta and a couple features Okta has, which is their access requests and workflows. And so so that helps to automate your access requests as well. So when someone does an access request, you create it's like a workflow in Okta that lets you have an approver. You have to have justification. Some things can be auto approved, other things that need the manual approver, and then also they're time bound. So then once that time expires, whether it's a minute, whether it's an hour, whether it's a day or a month or a year, then Okta will automatically go in and remove that access. So in the case of Salesforce, for example, where it only allows you a day, you could have more of an integration type of automation going on that would remove that permission set from them, even if Salesforce doesn't support those types of things. Of course, I think you always have to have that human eyes
Yeah.
on things as well. So I would never rely 100% on that automated system, but that's a better way also to help ensure there's less gaps, automating these security processes instead of just relying on manual only. So I think it's a combination, but I think the better you can automate, the better, but still then have those other checks and balances. And I really like some of the stuff that you said there, Mala.
I think so. I mean, I asked that question because I wanted to see what others did about that. Because, like David, we have a custom unlocked package, which basically does the same, with session activated permission sets and also goes a little step further and, pulls in related records from the audit trail. And next thing I want to pull event log records in as well. So, but Okta was kind of, I think the what we're all emulating, it sounds like. But yeah, thank you for elaborating. I was, just kind of really curious how others did it. So thanks.
Yep. And so we have one more question, and I'll kind of field this one. And if you want to add anything else, follow up. But they're asking what are some certifications in the Salesforce security space? Well, first thing I would say is watch the session we had last week. That was talking about not Salesforce specific, but security certifications that would impact and help improve your Salesforce security if you get those certifications. Others, I would say just Salesforce specific, just go to Trailhead. I think there's one, I heard there might be a second one that's out now. I think there's not too many dedicated to Salesforce. So but I would say, general security certifications as well with that session would be very helpful for you as a professional trying to understand how do you apply some of that security to Salesforce. I don't know, Mala, if you have anything else.
Yeah, so I did it my CISSP and I saw last week you guys talked about it. I really like that course. It gives you a much broader overall security landscape. So you can think more about it. The one other thing which really helped me after CISSP, I went to a boot camp and I learned it. Like every Saturday I was in a class from 5 a.m. to 3 PST hours, and it was truly wonderful class. So I created a landscape for each type of securities we could have. And then I sat down with our Salesforce developers team. We have a CISO team, security team, and we basically marked each from IAM to deployment. How does security landscape would look like for Salesforce for a particular organization? How would it should move from each aspect, from secret scanning to SaaS, DAST, or any other security check you want to implement it as a infrastructure as a code or policy as a code. So that CISSP gave me a larger scope, which would help me to customize my own security practice for Salesforce and really help me to think more broader and say, does Salesforce require it and why not? And getting those things, educated and getting the approval from the CISO level provided a confident that what I have been implemented in Salesforce that looks good in the eye of NIST, right? In the eye of any other security framework. So I would definitely say that, like, I was talking to someone yesterday and they said in security world, not everyone has a security certificate. But for me, CISSP provided me a much larger scope and think more broader. And with AI, right, you need to look not only Salesforce aspect now, you need to go more broader. CISP will give you a really good landscape to think all different domains can be explored with agents and all.
Yep, agreed. All right, well, I think we're out of questions at this point. If anyone wants to just go off mic and directly ask Mala a question, this is the time. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up. So I'll just give everyone a few seconds.
Thank you, everyone.